By the time the video froze on the man's broken body lying in the street, the defendant was still smiling, not a nervous smile, a practiced one. The kind you wear when you've spent your whole life being told nothing bad can stick to you. Plaintiff, limping, scar running jagged up his calf, sat at the witness table, staring at the screen like he was watching his own ghost. The defendant didn't even look. He adjusted his designer watch instead, and above them both, Judge Judy watched in a silence that weighed more than any shout. If you were sitting in that courtroom, whose story would you believe? The injured rideshare driver who says a car hit him and never stopped? Or the district attorney's son who says the man threw himself onto his hood? Don't answer yet, because what you haven't heard, the 911 tape, the missing report, and one line from a late-night email will change everything. The camera light blinks red. The courtroom is full. A few people in the gallery lean forward. They've seen clips online about this case already. The DA's golden boy versus the nobody in a reflective vest. Today they see it for real. Judge Judy breaks the silence. Let's start from the beginning, she says. Plaintiff, stand and tell me what you're suing for. The injured man rises slowly. He's not old, but his movements are careful, measured. Every step is a memory of that night. My name is Imran Malik, Your Honor, he says. His accent is faint, his English careful. I'm a rideshare driver, part-time, and delivery driver. I'm suing Daniel Keller for the damages to my car and for my medical bills from the hit-and-run accident he caused and left me bleeding in the street. The word hit-and-run pulls a murmur out of the gallery. Judge Judy raises a hand. Silence. Sit, she says. We'll get to your injuries, Daniel. The DA's son doesn't stand right away. He looks like he's used to people waiting for him, not the other way around. Then he catches the judge's stare. He stands. Full name, she says. Daniel Keller. Occupation? He smirks slightly. Law student? You in school now? She asks. Yes, Your Honor. Second year. Planning to be what? A prosecutor like your mother? Her tone is light, but there's something behind it. Something he's too lazy to detect. Maybe, he shrugs. We'll see. We will, Judy says. We definitely will. Imran watches him, fingers twisting the edge of the table. His gaze is not hateful. It's something worse, wary. Like he's seen this face, this shrug, this attitude before in a different suit, behind a different desk. Mr. Malik, Judy continues. You say Mr. Keller hit you with his car and drove away. Mr. Keller says you stepped in front of his car on purpose after a minor scrape. Those are two very different stories. Let's hear yours, briefly. Start with the street, time, what you remember. Imran nods. It was 10:47 p.m., he says without hesitation. I know because my rideshare app shows my last trip ended at 10:43, and I was heading home. I was crossing at the light by 8th and Hawthorne. I had the walk sign. I saw headlights. Too fast. He swallows, and then I was flying. The gallery goes still. I woke up on the ground. My leg felt wrong. There was blood. People shouting. A woman screaming. I saw the back of his car. Red BMW, license plate. I tried to remember. I said it out loud so I wouldn't forget. Someone called 911. He looks down at his hands. Asterisk. He did not come back. He did not check. He did not stop. All right, Judy says. Did you see who was driving? No, Your Honor. Just the car, the color, the plate, part of it. And your damages? Hospital, surgery, physical therapy. I can't drive as much. I can't work like before. My car was wrecked. Insurance helped some, but not all. His insurance company refused. They said there was no record of a claim matching my incident. No driver by that name. He glances at Daniel, and then my friend showed me a picture of him on social media. Same car, same night, same street. He was bragging about a psycho delivery guy jumping in front of his car for a payout. The gallery reacts with a collective sharp inhale. Daniel rolls his eyes. It was a joke, he mutters. People post things. You'll have your turn, Judy says without looking at him. Did you file a police report, Mr. Malik? Yes, Your Honor. As soon as I could walk with crutches, I went to the station. The officer took my statement. Then nothing. Weeks, months, No call, no update. The detective I spoke with stopped answering. Judy taps her pen, and then someone slipped this under my door, Imran says, reaching carefully into his folder and holding up a printed screenshot. Judy nods at the bailiff. He takes it to her dot. The camera zooms on the paper. It's a pixelated screenshot of a private Instagram story. A red BMW streetlights. A caption scrawled across it. Almost collected a delivery guy tonight. Hello. Mom says it'll disappear like the last one. The gallery's murmur this time is louder. The bailiff barks, order, but even his voice carries disbelief. Judy reads the screen, then lifts her eyes slowly to Daniel. Mom's says it'll disappear like the last one, she repeats. That's your writing. Daniel shifts his weight. It was supposed to be private, he says. It was a joke. People say stuff all the time online. You can't take that seriously. I take a lot of things seriously, Judy says. Injured bodies and missing case files are near the top of the list. She slides the screenshot to the side. Now, Mr. Keller, your version. And understand, she leans lightly forward. I've already seen the traffic cam footage. I'm giving you the chance to speak before the screen does it for you. His jaw tightens. Your Honor, I was driving home. Late, tired, it was raining. This guy, he stepped out between cars. Not at the crosswalk. I hit the brakes. I swerved. He hit the hood. Hit the hood, Imran whispers, incredulous, and then rolled off. Daniel continues. He was yelling, calling me names. People started crowding. I panicked. I drove ahead a little, pulled over, called my mom. She said not to argue with some guy trying to set me up in the street. She told me to go home and let the insurance deal with it. Judy watches him. You called 911? She asks. He hesitates. My mother said she would handle it, he says finally. She said calling from the scene could complicate things if he was crazy or drunk or trying to cause trouble. And your mother's occupation? Judy asks, though she already knows. He swallows. She's the district attorney. There it is. The gallery locks onto him with renewed intensity. Imran closes. His eyes for a moment. He already knew. Hearing it out loud still hurts. Judge Judy leans back, fingers steepled. So, she says slowly, we have a badly injured pedestrian, a driver, who left, a DA who said she would handle it, and a police report that went absolutely nowhere. Her gaze sharpens like a camera pulling into extreme close-up. Mr. Keller, she says, you told yourself this was messy, maybe unfair, maybe dramatic, but not illegal, not your problem. Just noise your mother would clear for you. Asterisk, he doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. Here's your problem, she continues. The system may have gone quiet, but the cameras didn't. She nods to the bailiff. Roll the footage. And for the first time, Daniel turns his head to look at the screen, at the truth that doesn't care who his mother is. Asterisk, the traffic cam footage is grainy, washed in that sickly yellow streetlight glow. But no one in the room can claim they don't see what's happening. The crosswalk sign flashes WILK. Imran steps off the curb, reflective delivery bag slung over his shoulder. He's not rushing, not drifting. Just crossing. A red BMW slides into frame, too fast for a city street. It doesn't slow as it approaches the intersection. Pause. Judge Judy says. The video halts. The image is frozen with Imran mid-step, the car a heartbeat away from him. The distance between them is a breath. Nothing more. Mr. Keller, Judy says, eyes still on the monitor. Where in this frame is he jumping out between cars? Daniel shifts in his chair. The angle, he starts, is the one that exists, she cuts in. Not the one in your head. Continue. The video plays. The car doesn't stop. The sickening moment of impact comes with a collective flinch from the gallery. Imran's body slams against the hood, then the windshield, then arcs sideways onto the pavement. His legs hit at a wrong angle. The BMW jerks, SLOWs, and then accelerates out of frame. Stop, Judy orders. The room is absolutely still. Imran stares at the screen, jaw clenched. He's seen this footage before, but it doesn't get easier. Daniel is pale now. The cool arrogance he walked in with has begun to sweat around the edges. You didn't stop, Judy says. I slowed down, he says quickly. There were people there. I knew someone would call. I was afraid he'd attack me. He was screaming, attacking you, she repeats. From the ground, with a shattered leg, Daniel bristles. You're twisting it? Judy's voice is deadly calm. The camera is not twisting anything. It has no feelings. It's not scared. It's not your friend. It just watches. The bailiff rewinds the last few seconds on Judy's signal. This time she focuses on the small things. Asterisk, the brake lights flare. Then release dot, the car's nose straightens dot. Then the accelerator is clearly engaged. He was making a choice, Mr. Keller, she says. You are a law student. You know what leaving the scene of an accident with injuries is called? I didn't leave the scene, he insists weakly. I moved my car. I called my mom. Your mother, Judy says, isn't 911. He says nothing. Sit down, she says. You're digging. He does, shoulders tighter than before. Asterisk, Judy turns back to Imran. Did anyone from the DA's office ever contact you? She asks. He shakes his head. No, Your Honor, only once. An officer called and said there wasn't enough to go forward. That maybe I was mistaken about the car. After that, nothing. No prosecutor? Judy clarifies. No investigator? No victim advocate? Nothing, Imran repeats. I stopped calling after 4 voicemails. Of course you did, Judy murmurs. Most people do. She flips through the file on her bench. Here's what's interesting, she says, voice picking up a new edge. This is your initial police report. Date, time, description. It's all here. But when the case was forwarded for review, something happened. She lifts another paper. This is an internal routing form from the DA's office, she says. You wouldn't have seen this, Mr. Malik, but I have it. Imran looks stunned. Daniel looks sick. This form, Judy continues, shows your complaint arriving at the DA's office. A prosecutor notes, possible felony hit and run. Victim cooperative. Needs follow-up. Then, 2 days later, she taps a highlighted line, hold off on filing. Per DA's instruction, do not proceed at this time. A hush falls so complete it feels like the room has stopped breathing. Daniel licks his lips. She has discretion, he says quickly. That's not corruption. They decline charges all the time. Judy's gaze snaps to him. They decline charges after an investigation, she says. After interviews. After evidence is fully reviewed. I see no victim interview. No attempt to contact Mr. Malik. No notes. Only one thing changed between possible felony and do not. Proceed. She holds up the routing form so the camera can focus on the signature scrawled at the bottom. The DA's. Your mom's. Your mother, Judy says, stepped in. So what? Daniel shoots back, frustration leaking through. She saw it as an accident, not a criminal case. She was protecting the office from a weak file, from drama, from people like him trying to milk the system. The last phrase lands like a slap. Imran's fingers curl under the table. Judy's eyes harden. People like him, she repeats slowly. You mean people who cross the street legally and end up in surgery? Daniel's bravado falters. I didn't mean you meant exactly what you've been taught to mean, she cuts in. That your fear of being held responsible is more important than his fear of not walking again. She closes the folder, and this, she says, is where things get interesting. She reaches under the bench and pulls out a small, labeled USB drive. This arrived, she says, in the same anonymous envelope as your social media screenshot. The room tightens. A 911 call, Judy explains. Place from the scene. Different angle. Different witness. Different memory. Daniel shifts. You can't verify? Oh, it's verified, she says, sliding the drive to the clerk. Play it. The audio crackles to life through the speakers. A woman's breathless voice fills the room. 911, what's your emergency? There's a man on the ground. Oh my God, he was hit by a red BMW. It just sped off. He's not moving 8th and Hawthorne, please, hurry. Did you see the license plate? Yeah, I think Ekel something, maybe Keller. It looked like Keller. Oh God, there's so much blood. Daniel's eyes close. He has never heard this recording. That's enough, Judy says. Stop it. The room is quiet except for Daniel's shaky breathing and the faint sound of Imran exhaling through his nose. Steadying himself. There is no mention, Judy says, of this call in your case file, Mr. Malik. No notation. No follow-up. No subpoena for this caller. Someone tried very hard to make sure this never got connected to you, Mr. Keller. She pauses, but someone else, she adds, tapping the USB case, wanted it heard. Her gaze fixes on Daniel. Who? She asks softly. Who knew enough and cared enough to send this to my bench? His throat moves. He swallows, but no words come out. Judy's eyes flick to the door. And more importantly, she continues, who had the power to bury it in the first place? She glances at the clerk. Call our next witness, she says. Bring in District Attorney Rebecca Keller. Asterisk, he shakes his head. No, Your Honor, only once. An officer called and said there wasn't enough to go forward. That maybe I was mistaken about the car. After that, nothing. No prosecutor? Judy clarifies. No investigator? No victim advocate? Nothing, Imran repeats. I stopped calling after 4 voicemails. Of course you did, Judy murmurs. Most people do. She flips through the file on her bench. Here's what's interesting, she says, voice picking up a new edge. This is your initial police report. Date, time, description. It's all here. But when the case was forwarded for review, something happened. She lifts another paper. This is an internal routing form from the DA's office, she says. You wouldn't have seen this, Mr. Malik, but I have it. Imran looks stunned. Daniel looks sick. This form, Judy continues, shows your complaint arriving at the DA's office. A prosecutor notes, possible felony hit and run. Victim cooperative. Needs follow-up. Then, 2 days later, she taps a highlighted line, hold off on filing. Per DA's instruction, do not proceed at this time. A hush falls so complete it feels like the room has stopped breathing. Daniel licks his lips. She has discretion, he says quickly. That's not corruption. They decline charges all the time. Judy's gaze snaps to him. They decline charges after an investigation, she says. After interviews. After evidence is fully reviewed. I see no victim interview. No attempt to contact Mr. Malik. No notes. Only one thing changed between possible felony and do not proceed. She holds up the routing form so the camera can focus on the signature scrawled at the bottom. The DA's. Your mom's. Your mother, Judy says, stepped in. So what? Daniel shoots back, frustration leaking through. She saw it as an accident. Not a criminal case. She was protecting the office from a weak file, from drama. From people like him trying to milk the system. The last phrase lands like a slap. Imran's fingers curl under the table. Judy's eyes harden. People like him, she repeats slowly. You mean people who cross the street legally and end up in surgery? Daniel's bravado falters. I didn't mean you meant exactly what you've been taught to mean, she cuts in. That your fear of being held responsible is more important than his fear of not walking again. She closes the folder, and this, she says, is where things get interesting. She reaches under the bench and pulls out a small, labeled USB drive. This arrived, she says, in the same anonymous envelope as your social media screenshot. The room tightens. A 911 call, Judy explains. Place from the scene. Different angle. Different witness. Different memory. Daniel shifts. You can't verify? Oh, it's verified, she says, sliding the drive to the clerk. Play it. The audio crackles to life through the speakers. A woman's breathless voice fills the room. 911, what's your emergency? There's a man on the ground. Oh my God, he was hit by a red BMW. It just sped off. He's not moving 8th and Hawthorne, please, hurry. Did you see the license plate? Yeah, I think Ekel something, maybe Keller. It looked like Keller. Oh God, there's so much blood. Daniel's eyes close. He has never heard this recording. That's enough, Judy says. Stop it. The room is quiet except for Daniel's shaky breathing and the faint sound of Imran exhaling through his nose. Steadying himself. There is no mention, Judy says, Of this call in your case file, Mr. Malik, no notation, no follow-up, no subpoena for this caller. Someone tried very hard to make sure this never got connected to you, Mr. Keller. She pauses, but someone else, she adds, tapping the USB case, wanted it heard. Her gaze fixes on Daniel. Who? She asks softly. Who knew enough and cared enough to send this to my bench? His throat moves. He swallows, but no words come out. Judy's eyes flick to the door. And more importantly, she continues, who had the power to bury it in the first place? She glances at the clerk. Call our next witness, she says. Bring in District Attorney Rebecca Keller. Asterisk good, Judy says. Then we can skip the basics. You know how this works? A ghost of a smirk touches the DA's mouth. Not quite confidence. More like reflex. Mrs. Keller, Judy begins. Did your office receive a case file regarding a pedestrian struck by a red BMW at 8th and Hawthorne on March 14th of last year? Yes, Your Honor, Rebecca says. A preliminary file was routed to our office. Did you personally review it? A pause. Yes, briefly. Why briefly? Judy asks, asterisk, it appeared from the summary to be a civil matter. Rebecca says carefully. Possibly contributory negligence. We receive many referrals that are better handled through insurance or civil court. We have finite resources. We make decisions. Indeed you do, Judy says. Is this your note? She holds up the routing form. The camera zooms in on the handwritten line. Hold off on filing. Per DA's instruction, do not proceed at this time. Rebecca's jaw tightens. Yes, she says slowly. That's my note. What did per DA's instruction mean? Judy asks, which day? Me, Rebecca answers. So you personally intervened, Judy says. Before any prosecutor spoke to the victim? Before the 911 caller was identified? Before anyone attempted to contact Mr. Malik, correct? Rebecca's eyes flick to Imran for the first time. Her gaze is quick, clinical, then gone. That's technically correct, she says. But not unusual. We exercise prosecutorial discretion, save the lecture, Judy snaps. You're not at a press conference? Rebecca stiffens. Judy leans forward. Did you know, she asks, that your son was the driver of that red BMW when you wrote that note? The room holds its breath. Asterisk, yes, Rebecca says after a moment. I did. And did you disclose that conflict of interest to anyone in your office? Judy presses. Did you recuse yourself? Did you refer the file to an independent prosecutor? No, she admits, the word quiet but sharp. I did not. Why not? Judy asks. Rebecca's fingers curl around the edge of the witness stand. Because it was an accident, she says. Because I knew the facts from him. He told me the pedestrian was aggressive, that he jumped on the hood, that it was dark, raining. I made a judgment call. You made a personal call, Judy corrects. On a professional line. You're twisting it, Rebecca says, echoing her son's earlier protest. We decline dozens of borderline cases every month. My office is not obligated to file every possible charge. Your office is obligated, Judy says coldly, not to cover for your family. A flush rises in Rebecca's cheeks. I did not cover, you interfered, Judy cuts in. You short-circuited the process before it could function. You took a file that described a serious injury, a fleeing driver, and a cooperative victim, and you made sure it died on your desk. That is not what... Did you hear this 911 call? Judy interrupts, nodding to the clerk. The audio plays again, the panicked woman. The red BMW, the license plate, the plea for help. Rebecca's face changes just slightly. Something flickers, recognition. Yes, she says quietly. I heard it. Did you order it logged? Judy asks. Yes. Did you order the caller contacted? Her statement taken? Silence. No, Rebecca says at last. Why? Judy asks. Because I already had. Enough, Rebecca replies. I knew Daniel had been there. I knew he'd left. I knew there was panic. But I also knew he called me immediately. He did not go out drinking. He did not try to hide the car. He came home. He was shaken. He was protected, Judy supplies. Rebecca's jaw clenches. Terrified, she says. He was terrified. Terrified of what? Judy presses. Of what, Jail? A record? Consequences? Or was he terrified that, for once, you might not catch the fallout for him? Daniel shifts uncomfortably at the defendant's table. His eyes are on his mother now, not the judge. Mrs. Keller, Judy continues relentlessly. Is this the first time you have intervened in a case involving your son? The Dea hesitates. Her silence is answer enough. Judy taps the anonymous envelope on her desk. In this envelope, she says, with the video and the screenshot and the 911 call, there was one more thing. A copy of a juvenile incident report, sealed, off limits to the public, filed when your son was 17. Rebecca's face drains of color. Daniel whispers, Mom, vandalism, property damage, alcohol. Judy reads from the photocopy. An officer recommended charges. A supervising attorney under your then division overruled. The language is familiar. Do not proceed at this time. Rebecca closes her eyes briefly. It was a stupid prank, she says. No one was hurt. Kids paint stupid things, break stupid things. I didn't want him branded. You thought you could erase it, Judy finishes. The same way you tried to erase Mr. Malek's file. Imran watches, eyes dark, fingers laced so tightly his knuckles are white. Rebecca finally looks at him again. This time, the gaze lingers. I was wrong, she says quietly. It's not an apology. Not yet. Just the first crack in a wall she spent decades building. Judy seizes it. Mrs. Keller, she says. Her voice lower now. Do you know how this envelope reached my bench? Rebecca shakes her head. No. Someone inside your office, Judy says, saw what you were doing. Saw this file disappear. Saw that juvenile report. Heard that 911 call. And decided to bypass you. They risked their job, maybe their career, to make sure this didn't vanish like the rest. Rebecca swallows. Ask yourself, Judy says calmly, why one of your own people believed the only way to get justice was to go around you entirely. The DA's shoulders sagged. Her eyes flicked to Daniel. His mask is gone now. The carefully groomed future prosecutor, the smirking law student, both stripped away. What's left is a son staring at a mother and realizing, maybe for the first time, that the thing that always saved him also broke something in both of them. Mrs. Keller, Judy says, voice like steel wrapped in velvet. Look at Mr. Malek, right now. Rebecca hesitates, then obeys. I met R.A. and meets her gaze. They hold it. You didn't just redirect a file, Judy says. You redirected his life. His income. His recovery. You told him, with your silence, that his pain was less important than your son's comfort. Rebecca's lips part, but no words come. Daniel shifts, his voice raw. You told me, he says to her, that people overreact. That I was unlucky. That you take care of it. You never said. I hit someone and left them there. I tried to protect you, she whispers. He lets out a small, mirthless laugh. You didn't protect me, he says. You taught me nothing matters if it hurts someone else. The gallery is silent. You can feel the weight of it, not just a legal reckoning, but a family watching itself in a mirror that cannot break. Judge Judy leans back. We are done pretending this is about one accident, she says. This is about a pattern you both built together. Him, by acting without fear. You, by making sure he never had to feel any. She closes the anonymous envelope for the last time. Now, she says, we talk about what happens when the safety net you've abused finally gets cut. Asterisk, the emotional temperature in the room has changed. It's not just anger anymore. It's something rawer. The shock of seeing private myths. I'm just unlucky. Mom is just helping. It was only an accident, shattered in public, under oath. Judge Judy allows the moment to breathe. Then she shifts the room back into its purpose. Mr. Malek, she says, turning to the plaintiff, stand for a moment. Imran rises slowly, the limp evident. Nothing exaggerated. Just the reality of flesh and bone that paid full price when the BMW didn't stop. How long were you unable to work after the accident? Judy asks. 3 months, he says. Fully off. Then part-time. I still cannot do long shifts. Sitting too long, my leg burns. Standing too long, it aches. Medical bills? She asks Dot. He lifts a staple packet. Hospital, surgery, therapy. My share after insurance is almost $12,000, Your Honor. Lost wages. Maybe $15,000 more. My car repairs, $3,000 still unpaid. Judy nods, doing the math in her head faster than most people with a calculator. Mr. Keller, she says. Eyes swinging back to Daniel. What do you think your share of this damage is? He looks stunned by the question. I don't know, he says honestly. All of it, half. I didn't mean this isn't about meaning, she interrupts. It's about math. And morality. She drums her fingers on the bench. Dot double quotes Mrs. Keller. She says, did you ever direct your son to take financial responsibility for this accident? Rebecca shakes her head slowly. I advised him to contact the insurance company. I assumed. You assumed, Judy says sharply, that the same system you controlled in criminal court would magically erase civil consequences too. Rebecca closes her eyes briefly. I was wrong, she whispers. You keep saying that, Judy replies. We'll see what you do with it. She looks between mother and son. Here's what I see, she says. A victim with documented injuries, bills, and a video that makes your excuses look ridiculous. A driver whose first instinct was not 911, but call my mother. A district attorney who used her position not to seek justice, but to smother it when it reached her child's doorstep. She lets each word land. Now, she continues, we will put things back where they belong. Asterisk, she turns to Imran. You will be made whole for your car repairs, your documented medical expenses, and a portion of your lost wages. I will detail the specific amounts in a moment. Imran exhales, shoulders trembling a little. It's not joy. It's something closer to a release he almost gave up on. But money alone, Judy says, does not address the other injury here. She looks at Daniel. You have spent your life stepping over the line because you never felt its edge, she says. Today is the first time you've had to watch your actions replayed in front of you with no one to block the view. He nods slowly, eyes glossy. I didn't mean to leave him, he says quietly. I was scared. Good, Judy replies. You should have been. That fear was telling you something your mother's voice has been drowning out for years. Stop. Turn around. Face what you did. Instead, you listen to the other message. Drive. I'll fix it. He swallows. I know, he says. I know that now. Knowing is the first step, she says. Changing is the others. She lifts the thin document again, the referral form. Asterisk. I am ordering you, she says, to enroll in a court-supervised program that combines anger management, ethical decision-making, and victim impact education. Not a weekend class. 6 months minimum. Reports back to the court. If you skip, fake it, or treat it like a joke, that will be noted in the file I'm sending to the Bar Association should you ever apply. Daniel blinks. The bar. You want to be a lawyer? Judy says. Lawyers don't just memorize statutes. They face ugly facts, including their own. If you cannot sit in a room and listen to the people hurt by drivers like you without hiding behind your last name, you have no business standing in front of any judge. He nods, a touch of panic in his eyes. I'll go, he says quickly. I'll do it. You'll do it, she says, or you'll meet a different kind of judge next time. One with sentencing power. She turns to Rebecca. As for you, Mrs. Keller, she says, I have no authority to discipline a sitting district attorney, but others do. The envelope I received will be forwarded with today's transcript and this video to the State Ethics Commission and the Attorney Discipline Board. They can decide what to do with a prosecutor who quietly kills a file when the defendant shares her address. A visible ripple runs through the gallery. Rebecca's composure finally cracks. Her voice is small when she speaks. Your Honor, I understand the seriousness. I do. But please, she glances at her son, don't Don't destroy his future because of my mistakes. Judy's gaze is unflinching. I'm not destroying his future, she says. You nearly did that for him. By convincing him there was no line he couldn't cross as long as you had a pen and a title. She softens. Just a fraction. What I am doing, she continues, is forcing him to build something on his own, without your hands constantly shoving the consequences out of frame. Rebecca's eyes glisten. I thought I was helping him, she whispers. Judy looks at both of them. That's the tragedy, she says quietly. That parents abandon their kids. Good parents sometimes smother them with so much protection they never grow a spine. You didn't leave him in the dark. You held an umbrella over him so long he doesn't know what rain feels like. Daniel stares at his mother, hurt and realization battling in his eyes. You told me people were out to get me, he says softly. You never said sometimes they were right to be angry. Rebecca covers her face with her hand for a moment, then drops it. I'm sorry, she says, not to the judge this time, but to him. I didn't want you to be branded. I saw too many kids get crushed by one mistake. And so, Judy finishes, you allowed him to make the same mistake more than once, without any reason to stop. She looks back at Imran. You, she says, have been patient in a system that did not earn that patience. You knocked at the door, and the person inside pretended not to hear. Today, someone opened it. Imran's throat works. Thank you, Your Honor, he says, voice rough. Don't thank me, she says. You did something most people don't. You didn't let their silence define the truth. You kept pushing. That envelope didn't walk here by itself. She glances at Rebecca again. I suspect, she adds quietly, someone in your office watched you bury one too many files and decided they couldn't sleep with that anymore. That's conscience. Something every lawyer should have. Rebecca nods faintly, shame and a flicker of respect mingling. Judge Judy straightens the papers before her. We are almost done, she says. But before I rule, I want to hear one more thing from you, Mr. Keller. Daniel looks up. When you drove away that night, she asks, did you ever once honestly think he might die? The question guts him. His voice cracks. Yes, he whispers. I thought I hit him hard. I saw his body. I thought he might. And you left anyway, she says. A tear slips down his face. He doesn't wipe it. I called her, he says. I thought, if I just got home, it would be fixed. Of course you did, she says softly. That's the problem. She lets the silence stretch, let the truth press against everyone's skin. Sit down, she says finally. It's time for the verdict. Asterisk, the courtroom feels smaller now, not because the walls moved, but because the illusions did. The future prosecutor, who never feared a file, the unshakable DA who believed she could draw lines around the law whenever blood brushed her doorstep, the nobody delivery driver who was supposed to give up and disappear. When the phone stopped ringing, they're all still here, just turned inside out. Judge Judy takes a breath, stacks the documents neatly, and looks straight at Daniel. Stand, she says. He stands. His shoulders are not squared. They're not collapsed either. They're caught somewhere in between, a man halfway between who he was and who he might become. You have hurt someone, she says. You have been dishonest, first with yourself, then with this court. You left a man on the ground because you trusted your mother's power more than your own conscience. He nods, eyes red. You also, she continues, did something that might save you. You stopped lying when the evidence boxed you in. You looked at that screen and at this man and finally admitted what you actually felt: fear, guilt, awareness that he might die. She lets that breathe. I cannot sentence you to jail, she says. That authority doesn't live at this bench. But don't be confused. What I can do today will follow you longer than 30 days in a cell. She lifts the judgment sheet. For the record, she says, I am awarding the plaintiff full compensation for his documented medical expenses and outstanding car repairs. I am awarding a portion of his verifiable lost wages. That totals, she reads the figure, $30,840. Daniel's face pales. I don't have You will pay it, she says. In installments if you must. With help if you must. I don't care if you tutor first-year law students or serve coffee between classes. You will feel in your own bank account that driving away costs something. He swallows. Yes, Your Honor. In addition, she says, you will complete the court-mandated program we discussed. 6 months minimum. Attendance verified. Progress reported. He nods. And third, she adds, surprising everyone, you will write a letter. Not to me, to Mr. Malik. Imran blinks. It will not be a 2-line sorry about that note, she continues. It will be an honest account of what you did, what you felt, and what you now understand about what it did to his life. It will be given to him and kept with this file. Not as closure, for this may never fully close for him, but as a record that, at some point, you finally said out loud what you should have said that night. Daniel's throat tightens. I can do that, he says. You better, she says. If I ever hear you describe this accident again as a psycho delivery guy jumping in front of my car for a payout, you will prove that this entire day was a performance and nothing more. He shakes his head hard. No, Your Honor, I won't, I swear. Good, she says. Set. He does dot. She turns to Rebecca, double quotes Mrs. Keller. She says, what happens to your position is not up to me. But I will say this, whatever office you hold, whatever power you wield, is only legitimate as long as people believe you use it for them, not for yours. Rebecca looks 10 years older than when she walked in. I understand, she says quietly. I will accept whatever comes. You don't have a choice, Judy replies. That's what consequences are. She softens, just barely. But you do have one choice left that matters, she adds. The next time your son calls you in a panic, do you reach for the file shredder? Or do you tell him to turn around and face what he did? Rebecca's eyes fill again. I'll tell him to face it, she says. I should have. Years ago. Then maybe, Judy says, you'll finally start being his mother, and not his cleanup crew. A strained, sad half-smile touches Daniel's mouth. Judy shifts her attention to Imran. You, she says, have been more patient and more persistent than most would manage. You knocked on a locked door, and when no one opened it, you found another way in. You should not have had to work that hard just to be heard. He nods, eyes wet. Thank you, Your Honor, he says. Money will help, but being believed, that is more. She inclines her head. No one gave you a badge. No one gave you an office. And yet you upheld the core idea they both represent better than the person whose job it was to defend it. She looks back at the whole courtroom. This isn't a TV movie, she says. When we turn off these cameras, his leg will still hurt. Your record, Mrs. Keller, will still have a stain. And you, Mr. Keller, will still have to wake up tomorrow and decide whether to treat this as a fluke or a fork in the road. Her gaze locks on Daniel one final time. People like to say, people never change, she says. What they usually mean is, people don't change when they never have to. Today, for the first time in your life, you have to. He nods, tears sliding freely now. I will try, he says. Really. Not because I'm scared of this. Because I saw him on that screen, and I don't want to be the kind of man who drives away from that. For the first time, Imran looks at him and sees not just the car, not just the last name, but a person cracking open. I don't know if I forgive you, Imran says honestly. Not yet, but I hope you mean that. I do, Daniel says. Voice trembling. Judy doesn't smile, but something in her eyes shifts. This court, she says, lifting the gavel, finds in favor of the plaintiff in the amount stated. All additional orders are as read on the record. She raises the gavel a fraction higher. Power, she says, is not measured by how many people you can hurt without consequences. It's measured by what you do when consequences finally find you. The gavel falls, one hard. Echoing strike. If you were watching from the gallery or from your screen at home, you'd have to ask yourself, did justice win today because a man got a check? Or because, for the first time, a son and a mother who thought the rules bent for them finally felt them snap back into place. Tell me what you think.